Hello, how are you doing? Welcome back to the Retro Gamer Show.
Here's what's coming up on today's show.
We're going to tell you all about our recent visit to Swag Meet number 10.
We visit the Bristol gaming market and show you what we picked up.
And Colin's turned another year older. Stay tuned to see what retro-themed gifts he received.
And as always, we've got a roundup of this month's retro gaming events in What's On.
Right then, before we get into all of that, it's time for the news. What have you got for us this month, James?
Well, I hear that Play Expo Margate is going to be back, and it's going to be held over the weekend of the 21st to the 23rd of February 2020 next year. You can get tickets at playexpomargate.com, and it's returning back to the Winter Gardens.
Yeah, so cool. So our first event that we've heard of for next year already confirmed. So that's great. So so my little bit of news is more of tell you what I've seen more than a bit of news. And I've seen the hottest console mod around. Yes, you're not going to believe this. There is an N64 that actually breathes fire. There's a YouTube video of this guy's actually modded it, and it breathes fire. You want to put it in your living room, it's going to burn the house down. But it's got to be the hottest console mod around, and we'll leave like a little link to that in the description so you can go and check that out and have a proper look at that. Right, now since the last Retro Gamer Show, quite a lot has happened. We've been really busy, haven't we?
We certainly have, and we've been back to Swag.
So this is Swag Meet number 10, and for anyone who doesn't really know what Swag is, it stands for the South West Amiga Group. Swag is a group of like-minded individuals that come together to show off their Amiga kit.
But it's not just for your Amiga kit these days, because you find lots of people are taking along all their retro gaming rarities as well. For example, at this meet there was somebody that took along a Vectrex, there was also an Atari Jaguar, and the man himself, Mr. Craig Turner, was there, the guy that's responsible for the Retro Revival events. He was there with his arcade system, and he was also showing everyone the Spectrum Next.
We just want to say a big thank you to Dave, Zeb, Derek, Gil and Rob and all the organisers of the event. Anyway, we're going to leave you with some of the footage we captured at the event.
This amazing setup belonged to Amiga musician Chris Poacher. Chris was there all day showing us how to make music on our Commodore Amigas.
Now, here's something that I can guarantee you've probably never seen before. It's a 3D printed add-on device that clips to the side of the Sega Master System light phaser that lets you connect a control pad and use it for firing grenades.
Right, well, as you see, we had a great time at SWAG, and we didn't really have as much time to record as much footage as we'd have liked, did we? Because we were doing, or you were doing a little project with your Amiga 1200, and I let yourself and Keith tell us a little bit more about that.
I'm here with Keith from the YouTube channel Digital Orphanage. Do check him out. We'll put a link to his channel in the description. Keith is busy helping to try and resurrect my A1200, and we're at the moment writing workbench discs.
Exciting stuff.
On Keith's working A1200.
This is what SWAG is all about, helping fellow Amiga fans to get theirs working again. So I'm using mine, which is fairly working, to write the discs from ADF files from a GoTech that we've borrowed from somebody else in the room.
Yes.
And James has parted with his hard-earned cash for an SD card reader for the inside to the IDE. So, and we're going to get that all formatted and set up and partitioned and
brilliant.
Everything else.
A1200 lives again.
Hopefully.
Right, so there we go. We spent quite a lot of the day on your Amiga 1200. Well,
Yes.
I say we in the loosest sense of the term, because you can see I was sat in the background all that time playing on Keith's Atari Jaguar. But yeah, that was pretty cool to have a go on one of those. And yeah, but so how did it actually turn out? Your
well, Keith got in touch just a few days after SWAG, and he managed to sort out my hard drive, the original one, managed to recover it, and I've got the hard drive back, and it all works perfectly. So he managed to sort that out, which is fantastic. I was really sort of interested to find out what was on my old A1200 hard drive, and it was mostly schoolwork, GCSE work. There was a school report though, which I did find, and it would have been one I would have had to type up. One of the comments from one of my teachers was, "Tries hard but lacks skill."
all right.
So that summed it up for me. But yeah, it's great. He's recovered that for me, and I've got all the files saved.
So what about the SD card that you were putting in the? Let's try and get like games working on the SD card.
Yeah, I still need. Still having a bit of trouble with that. I think there is something definitely up with my A1200. I've tried various different cards, different adapters, but I've got a couple of partitions running. So although Keith sorted out my hard drive, and now I actually don't need to use it because I've got an SD card and loads of space on that.
Ah, cool. So yeah, also at SWAG, of course, we've got to say a big thank you to Scott from RetroBench, who actually sponsored the day.
Did.
He paid for the price of the hall, so that was a big one of the big expenses of the day, sort of out of the way. And he also did a raffle, didn't he?
He did, yeah. So everyone, you know, bought some extra tickets. I know we certainly did, because there were some top prizes up for grabs.
Yeah, the first prize was an Amiga 1200,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
A1200. The second prize was an A600. These are all recapped though.
Yeah.
So not just, you know, not just as they are. They'd had a full service and recap. And the third prize was an A500.
Yeah, and who was it that won the Amiga 1200?
The star prize was won by the one and only Vicky Pixel Vixen.
Yeah, it was good to see that going to someone who's been a supporter of Swag for some time. And I'm sure she's given that a good home and was pleased to receive that. So, and the funds from the raffle have already paid for like the hire of the hall for the next event.
Yeah, it covers some of the costs for the next event. So that really is, brilliant.
So it was really generous of Scott from RetroBench to do that. So thanks for that, Scott. We sort of like from us and everyone at Swag. And of course, you know, sort of like if you want any Amiga kit, then check out Scott's website. We'll put a link to that in the description. Please go and support him. Right then, James, what else has happened since the last Retro Gamer show?
Well, a certain someone has had a birthday.
Yes.
This guy.
Yes, last week I became another year older.
We won't say how old.
I don't mind. It's pushing 50, but not quite there just yet. A couple more years to go. Yeah, so I had a birthday, and of course got lots of retro gaming presents.
You certainly did.
Yeah, did really well.
And we've got them here.
Yeah. So my brother, thanks to my brother, he gave me this, which is a PlayStation wallet. He knows how much I love the PlayStation, so he got me this. So I'm gonna have to sort of like at some point organise swapping over from my old wallet to this one. So
did he fill it with money?
He didn't, no, unfortunately. No, didn't go that far. But yeah, but thanks for that. That was cool. One of my work colleagues, Lorraine, who I've got to say a big thank you to for getting me this. She knows nothing about retro gaming, but she knows I'm into it.
Nothing at all.
Well, so she says. She said, she got me this, so obviously a lot of thought.
She's got you a frame?
Yeah, with a poster of all the controllers that you can think of, many of them that I own. And yeah, thanks to Lorraine for that. A lot of thoughts going into that. I think she had problems getting it delivered as well, so probably a little bit of stress as well. So
there's all sorts on there.
Yeah, that was really good. It's going to look great in the games room. I'm going to have to decide where to put it, but sure I'm going to find a good space for that.
Do a close up.
Go on then.
There you go. I know you guys love it when I show things to the camera and you can't see them because they're too blurry. Can you see? Everyone name exactly every one of those? There was one that stumped you, wasn't there?
There was. See if everybody knows that one.
Right, so the one that stumped Colin is that one, which is...
Let's see, let them know. Answers in the comments. Answers in the comments.
Yeah, leave us a comment if you know what that is. The third one down I just showed you.
Right, and of course, you very generously gave me a Raspberry Pi 4.
Yes,
you know how much I love the Raspberry Pi. And love playing around with them, tinkering around, getting RetroPie running and playing different games on those. And of course, I don't think the official RetroPie image is out just yet. I think they said it's going to be very soon. There's a way of getting RetroPie onto the Raspberry Pi 4, but I should probably wait till the official image is out.
There'll be no end of emulators that will...
Yeah, I mean obviously it's going to be more powerful,
on that.
More powerful than the RetroPie 3, so probably we're going to be hopefully sort of maybe emulating it to PlayStation 2 even. So yeah, that's going to be cool. So I'm going to get a little project together and sort something out with that. Going to enjoy tinkering around with that. And so thanks very much for that. It's very generous of you.
Happy birthday.
And anyway, talking about the Raspberry Pi and RetroPie, my parents also gave me one of these.
This is the RetroFlag Gpi Case. And if you ask me, this thing is bloomin' amazing. So as you can tell, I really like this case, and it's brought to us by RetroFlag, the guys that brought us the brilliant Mega Pi case and the equally brilliant Super Pi case. The case obviously looks very much like the original Game Boy, although it's a little bit smaller when placed side by side. On the front you will find two additional buttons, so you now have A, B, X and Y. Also on the front you will find start and select buttons, along with a very usable D-pad. Above the buttons is a 2.8-inch IPS screen which looks incredible when switched on. There's also a red LED power indicator which flashes when your battery power is running low. On the top of the case, maybe not surprisingly, you will find an on-off switch. Once you have the safe shutdown script installed on your Pi, this allows for safe shutdown of your Raspberry Pi. On the left side of the case you will find a brightness dial and a power port for plugging in the included power cable, although you will have to supply your own USB plug. On the right side of the case there is a volume control, and on the bottom a 3.5mm audio port. Turning the case over, on the back you will find the battery compartment. The case takes 3 AA batteries, and with a good set of rechargeables you can get around 4 hours of continuous gameplay. Inside the battery compartment you will find a micro USB socket, but this apparently is just for firmware updates. You will also find a very small on-off switch which you need to switch on if you want to use the safe shutdown script that I've previously mentioned. Also on the back are 2 shoulder buttons, which at first I found a little hard to find, but once you've been playing for a while it comes quite natural to find them, and they become quite easy to use. Now this case either holds a Raspberry Pi Zero or a Raspberry Pi Zero W. Now I strongly advise using the W because that has Wi-Fi, and then if you need to you can connect to the Pi wirelessly using your PC when it's inside the case. Now you may be asking where the Raspberry Pi goes. Well, it goes in this bit on the back that looks like the original Game Boy cartridge. Although when you pull it out from the case it looks like this, so it's a bit more wider than the Game Boy cartridge. So you have to open up this little cartridge, and inside you'll find what they call an I/O conversion board. This board has a little plug on it which I'm pointing to with the screwdriver that has to be plugged into one of the Raspberry Pi Zero USB sockets. Once that's done you screw your Raspberry Pi Zero into the case and fold the I/O board over on top of the Pi so that the rather clever pogo pins on the I/O board connect to the GPIO header on the Pi. This means that no soldering is involved. Finally you screw the case back together, and now you've got this rather nifty little Raspberry Pi Zero cartridge to pop into your main case. And of course the very last thing to do is to make yourself a RetroPie image on a micro SD card. Now although you can do this yourself if you know what you're doing, I suggest you save yourself a bit of time and get yourself over to the Supreme Retro Gaming YouTube channel, where you can download their base image, which doesn't have any ROMs on it, but it's an image that is specially designed for RetroPie to run on the GPI case, so that is definitely worth downloading and trying out if you ask me. And of course I'll leave a link to their channel in the video description.
Well, Colin, after playing one of these, I can totally understand why you love this. These are fantastic.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? What do you think of the buttons? You like the buttons?
The buttons feel just like the original Game Boy. They've put a lot of effort into making this just to what people would want. Screen's great, the buttons are great, looks like a Game Boy.
Yeah, and so I've got my Commodore Amiga running on it, I've got the Commodore 64 running on it, the PC Engine. Imagine having the PC Engine that you can just take on the go with you. It's brilliant, you know. Obviously it does all your other usual stuff like Sega Game Gear, there's the Game Boy, Game Boy Advance. Yeah, Lynx is on there, so it does all your handheld stuff, and also you can do Mega Drive and SNES and all that sort of stuff. I think PlayStation, there's only a Pi Zero in, I think PlayStation is pushing it a little bit, although I've seen people say they've had Crash Bandicoot working on it. So yeah, it's definitely worth picking up if you can afford one and you like playing around with your Raspberry Pis. It's definitely worth it. But anyway, moving on, and here's somewhere else we've been this month.
On the very wet Sunday the 22nd of September, we made the short trip along the motorway, or at least a short trip for us, to Bristol. So what was it that would get us out of our beds so early on a very wet Sunday September morning? Of course it was the Bristol gaming market. Now if you've never been to the Bristol gaming market before, it's held here at the passenger shed, right next to Bristol Templemead station, so it's easy to get to by train, and there's also plenty of parking. Once inside, of course, it's time for everyone to start hunting for those retro gaming bargains. Right, I'll leave you to have a little look around, but we'll be back in just a few minutes to show you our pickups.
Well, we both had a great time at the Bristol Gaming Market. I spent a little bit too much, and we'll show you what we both bought in just a short time. A couple of people to say hello to.
Yeah, so while we were there, the first person I bumped into was Anthony. And Anthony, some of you remember if you watched the video where we had a great big stack of Commodore 64 games to go through. Anthony was the guy that we seen at Swag who gave me those, and so it was nice to see him and have a nice chat to him, and we chatted about the video that we made about with his games. So yeah, it was nice to see Anthony again.
Yeah, he was there shopping, and also we bumped into a friend of the channel, Sarah from warp-pipe.co.uk. She's got a website that's all live and full of all sorts of stuff, really. Check her out. So she came over and said hello and said she likes watching the channel. So yeah, it's always great to meet you guys.
And we also seen Big Mike, of course.
Yeah, from the YouTube
Bristol's
channel.
very own. Yeah.
Without further ado,
Retro. We know who he is, really.
Yeah,
So,
I'll get my words out in a minute. But yeah, Mike was there, living the dream as always.
Bristol born and bred, as he says, and so yeah, he was there, and can't have a Bristol gaming market without Mike.
That's true.
Yeah, and we also seen Paul, Mr. Bud's Gaming.
Yep.
Good to see Paul again, and
his friend,
to him.
which I forgot the name of him.
Yeah,
I forgot his name. Sorry.
Yeah, I had his friend with him. So yeah, always good to see Paul and catch up with him. Got an amazing collection. So that's Mr. Bud's Gaming. Go over and check out Paul's channel. And of course, Danester was there, or Dana, wasn't he?
Stalling up.
Yeah, selling his wares, so we say.
You got some stuff from him, and we'll show you that in a sec.
Yeah. So that was good to see him as well. And who else was there?
Oh, Retro Mods were there.
Yeah.
With all their, crazy mods.
And of course, my friend Tony went with his nephew and his nephew Patrick and his brother Simon. And so it was, unusual to see someone that I don't normally see in the markets that I know. Sort of there, and he was over there looking for like Sega Mega Drive stuff, and his nephew's into Sonic. So that was very cool. So yeah, I don't think we've missed anyone out, have we?
I bumped into a fellow collector, Jonathan. We've been in touch since the show. I was looking at some expensive Game Gear games, and he was telling me all about them. Certainly knew his stuff, and he's got so many full PAL sets. It's crazy. So it's great to meet him, and he was telling me all about some of the games he's picked up recently.
And Scott from RetroBench was there as well. I bumped into him. I forgot to mention that I've seen him very briefly, quick handshake and a hello. So yeah, it was nice. It was always nice to have a bit of a social element to these markets, as well as just going there to buy lots of stuff. So should we get on to what we picked up?
Yeah, let's do it.
Right, so
if there is a gaming market near you, you really need to go and support it.
Yeah.
They are great.
Yeah.
But
anyway, so shall I do mine first?
Go on
because
then. Go on then. You go
my
first.
pickup's pretty rubbish. You got some really nice stuff. So anyway, the first thing, I only bought one thing.
I wouldn't say it's rubbish.
No, I only bought, compared to what you bought, I think it is. I only bought one thing, and that is for the Commodore 64, of course, Red Heat and an Ocean sort of classic. I think I got this on a budget title. I think it's either Kicks or it might be Hit Squad, but I haven't got like the full Ocean release, so it was good to pick that up. I think it was £3 I paid for that.
That's great condition. So all those thousands of games, and you picked up
one Commodore 64 game. But I did pick up some for my nephew.
Yes.
Because my nephew, he's not really into retro gaming, but I'm pretty proud of him because he decided to collect all the FIFA games. So I know a lot of people say, oh, FIFA. Yeah. But anyway, so I managed to pick some up after a little bit of shopping around.
You found FIFA games for sale? I did. My god. How the hell did you find any?
So first of all, we got the very first FIFA. Oh, that's not the first FIFA. Let's find the first one. Where's it gone?
The first one for 95?
Yeah, first one for 95.
Yeah.
There you go. International Soccer, FIFA International Soccer. The very
Everyone
first
has
one.
that. It's the law.
That's one of the best ones in my opinion still. I remember when that came out and absolutely loved it when it came out. And even though some people say, I think that plays better than some of the ones that came out after it, if you ask me. So anyway, so there's that one.
Was that from Dana?
No, that one wasn't actually. No, I think it was FIFA 96 we got from it. So it's FIFA 95. So I did a little bit of shopping around because a lot of people, some of the people had these cheaper, some of them had them a bit sort of silly prices.
Shopping around for FIFAs.
Yeah. Some of them
silly prices.
Well, yeah, some were a little bit more expensive, a bit expensive, £10 or something for a FIFA game. That was a bit steep. And they also for different conditions. Some people's weren't very good conditions, some people's were. So I
top quality at cheap price.
I could find FIFA 97 and I think it was FIFA 96 first, obviously FIFA 97. That's the one I got for Dana. So yeah, so picked all those four up after shopping around for a little bit. I'd say for about £10 I think. So not too bad for 4 games on the Mega Drive.
I don't think Tootie needs those for his collection.
Probably
otherwise, you could do a trade.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's go on to your pickups because you've got some really nice stuff.
You've massively overhyped this. You certainly have. Right, there's a bit of a theme. It's not a massive amount, just a few items. Okay, right. First up, put your hand up and leave a comment because we can't see your hand. If you've ever seen one of these before, because I certainly hadn't, it is a plastic tray with a Game Boy sticker on the front.
So the sticker was actually printed?
Well, it's actually printed, or a tampo print if you're in the manufacturing game. Well, I think it's a tampo. It looks like a tampo.
It looks like it's very slightly sort of yellowed a little bit.
Yeah, it probably could do with a bit of retro brighting. See the
I imagine it was probably grey in colour anyway. It wasn't going to be. But yeah, that's really nice. I've not seen one before.
Yeah, Game Boy display tray. Now, whether or not these were for sale, I imagine they were, or whether they were. Maybe they were into shops or given as point of sale.
But I'd imagine by the width of it, you could put a box in there.
Yeah, only just fits a box.
Does it?
Yeah.
Well, imagine you could probably put some loose cards.
Yeah, you'd think that as well. And it barely fits 2 Nintendo carts next to each other.
Does it? Yeah. Really? Good.
So maybe this was for something else, but maybe it was for the. It'd be good for Or
maybe actually had Game Boys in it. Well, their box. I don't know.
But anyway, I've done nothing with it since we got it, apart from clean it. It's still a bit mucky inside. So
how much you pay for that?
Yeah. Okay. Feel free to laugh because. I hadn't seen one before. It was 20 quid.
All right.
I spent 20 quid on a plastic tray. Yes.
I think it's all right.
I am mental. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to put my Game Boy boxes in that. But where I want to put it, it doesn't fit.
If I was going to...
I'm a proper idiot.
If I was actually actively collecting for the Game Boy at the moment, I would probably be interested in buying that myself. So I think that's a pretty good pickup.
I believe it's legit. Someone stuck a sticker on a tray and made some cash. But no, the guy who I got this from was great. Now, everything I did buy actually all came from the same guy.
Oh, right.
It was top guy, really. Anyway, that's it. First thing, Game Boy tray.
What else you got?
Retro Brighton, I don't know. Next up, I saw this. Now, I can't remember the guy's name, but hello if you're watching. I did ask him his name and then immediately forgot, so I am sorry, I'm rubbish. This was the second item.
That's pretty mint.
This is very nice. This is, of course, the Sega Light Phaser. Now, everyone knows what this is. This is the rival to the NES Zapper. I'll show you the back. Let's see if you can see some of the great games that you've got on there. Everyone must have used one of these. Of course, if you've got that 3D printed controller adapter that Craig Turner's friend had, you can clip it onto here and fire grenades in Operation Wolf. But yeah really great condition. Cool little nip there, little nick in the cardboard there, little rip. But no big deal. This was up for 25, but kindly the chap there did the deal and I got it for 20. So
that's pretty good.
Bargain, yeah,
nice
great. I'm right into the Master System again. And there's a theme. Next pickup, there's only one more after this. Another Master System item, and it is the Competition Pro control pad. Now, what makes this different to any other Master System pad, which I know everyone will know anyway, but it's got auto fire. So these little switches here, you can set the rate of the fire. So if you're playing something like R-Type or any shooter or any game really where you've got to hammer the buttons, this is what you need. And this was, I think I did it for 12. So
not bad,
yeah, it's great. For use on the Sega Master System 8-bit. Competition Pro do some great stuff. I haven't tested it, but it does look very good condition, and I'm sure it's great. So yeah, one of these, nice box, just about fits in the box. I won't take it out because it took me literally 20 minutes to get it back in. But yeah.
So look at that. Will you show your last item then?
Yeah. Okay. Last up. Right. There's a bit of a story behind this. Only a tiny one though. Many years ago, when I was a wee lad, and I had my Master System, and I was buying like the Ninja from Toys R Us or Argos or Index for like $9.99 with my pocket money that I'd saved up for ages. There was a little device little hardware device for the Master System that I often saw. I think the first time I saw it was in a Telly Games in Peterborough, and I saw it in Toys R Us. Remember them?
Yeah, Toys R Us, yeah.
We miss them.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough waffling. It was one of these, and this is the Sega Rapid Fire Unit. Now, ever since I'd seen one of these, I absolutely wanted one, and it's only now, 30 odd years later, I finally bought one. Because when you used to see this in the catalogue, or you used to see it in the store, it was like, buy this or buy a cheap game like Action Fighter or the Ninja and, you know, Teddy Boy, and, you know, when they had the games. Yeah. It was buy a game or buy this, and it was just always a game usually. Always wanted one, finally got one. I believe it is sealed, but there is a random pube. Well, I think it's a pube. I'll let you leave a comment. Is that a pube? Can you see? Can you see? Is that so? There's a hair in it. Random so hair. Has someone left a pube in it?
Maybe we're gonna have factory sealed.
Factory sealed pube. Yes, a Sega employee's factory sealed pube. Anyway, we're gonna have to get that out and do some DNA. It's got a little sticker on the back. Looks like it was exported. The guy said it was in like a job lot. It's got a sticker there. Some bizarre. You can't see it because it's all blurry. It's got a currency on. Never heard of that shop. Giganate. Ever heard of Giganate?
No.
It's got like a dollar symbol, and then it's got 36,700. So that was cheap. I think these were about 15 quid back in the day. But yeah, it's in case you don't know what it is a rapid fire adapter, which it says there. You plug your controller in, any Sega controller, and it gives you auto fire, and you've got switches for various different fire rates. So kind of pointless when you just bought the Competition Pro with auto fire built in anyway.
Yeah.
But anyway, I've always wanted one, and now I have. So yeah, and I got a free pube.
Anyway, so that's basically it for our retro gaming Bristol gaming market little bit. And if you want to know if there's a retro gaming market going to be near you, what you're going to need to check out this month's What's On.
So we've got 3 events for you this month, and kicking things off on the 5th of October, it's the Retro Games Fair in Nottingham. This is being held at the Britannia Hotel, 1 St James Street. Entry is £2 and the doors are open at 11 and close at 4. For more information on this one, visit retrogamesfair.com.
Now, Play Expo is back in Blackpool. You've heard us talk about it for at least a good few months, but it is right around the corner on the 12th and 13th of October at the biggest, baddest venue in Blackpool, the Norbreck Castle Exhibition Centre. Now there is all sorts going on, and we have some hot news released today. There's going to be a panel from the Retro Unlim guys. There's going to be Novabug and Pete on a retro tip talking all about YouTube. So make sure you check that out. Those of you who have been watching the channel for a long time will know all about Play Expo events. There's so much to do. It's so family friendly. There's all sorts of pinball machines, arcade machines, loads of vendors selling all sorts of merchandise, and of course plenty of retro games to buy. I'm going to be heading up to Blackpool for this event, so hopefully we can see each other and have a beer.
And finally this month, an event not just for retro gamers but for anyone who's got an interest in gaming. Everything's covered at this event. It's EGX. It's being held between the 17th and 20th of October at the Excel Centre in London. For further information and to book your tickets, visit www.egx.net/EGX.
So there we go, that's what's on this month, and James is going to be making his way up to Blackpool very soon for the Play Expo.
I certainly am. That's coming up very quickly, but it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, so if you see James there, make sure you say hi. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make it, so James is going to go and have all the fun himself. And but that is it for this month's show. We'd like to thank everyone for their support, everyone who's always subscribed, all the new subscribers, thank you very much. And if you commented on last month's show, as always, don't forget your name will be going across the bottom of the screen right now. But until next time, James, what are they going to do?
Keep it retro, everyone.